Hi, I'm your host. Thank you for coming here to this channel, Lewis Love Poems, where we talk about love, everything about love, and anything about love. So today we'll be talking about the five love languages that were written by Dr. Chapman. Dr. Gary Chapman, of course, wrote a book on the five love languages, and everybody, well, a lot of people really get into that. The five love languages are quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, and receiving gifts. And you can take a quiz to see what love language is your love language. The idea is that if you are like to spend quality time with your loved one, then that's your love language. And maybe your partner, your wife, maybe her love language is acts of service. You know, she wants something special to be done for her, and that's her love language. And so it comes down to a formula kind of thing. But in reality, I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a clinician or anything like that. And I don't think that I need to be a doctor or to take a quiz to know what love is. I've been on this world and this earth long enough to know what love is. And I think when you know what love is when you're really young anyways, when you're young, you know what love is. When you see your mom taking care of you, when your mom who really loves you takes care of you, you see love. Or your dad really takes care of you, and he changes your clothes, or takes you on a walk, or teaches you how to ride the bicycle. You know, those are acts of love. But my thing here with the five languages is that when we compare that to unconditional love, and we see what unconditional love is, unconditional love is not placing any restrictions on love. So if my wife doesn't spend quality time with me, or doesn't write me a love note, or doesn't do a service for me, that means that she doesn't love me, or am I putting a condition on that love? And that's the question. Because you see, love is not a formula. And if we look at the person who showed us, who teaches us about love, the person that is much more in love with all of us than anybody else, and that would be God. And his love is unconditional, and he doesn't need a formula. And his love is unconditional. So if my wife, I'll just take this example. Let's say that my thing is quality time, and let's say that my wife's is acts of service, and so she believes that I don't know, ironing my clothes is an act of service, and that shows her love for me. But I want quality time according to the quiz. So if she doesn't spend quality time with me, does that mean that she doesn't love me, or am I putting a condition on her? And so when I ask these questions, and I ask it out here in live, it's because you have to see what unconditional love is. If we're in love with God, and God loves us, and we want to love like God loves us, we will not place any condition on the love that is coming towards us from the partner that we chose, from your wife, or your husband, or your partner. There's no condition placed on that. So if my wife wants to show me love by ironing my clothes, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. I should appreciate that, and I should go and tell her that, because my love should be unconditional. I should not be conditioned. Well, you don't love me because you don't do acts of service, because you don't spend quality time with me. That's not how it works. You see, when you have unconditional love, you naturally love your partner. My wife has unconditional love for her husband, then she's naturally going to love me. And I'm going to feel that love however, in whatever form it comes to me. If she cooks me a dinner, I accept that dinner. If she goes, spends time with me, I accept that. When we love unconditionally, we naturally act or do the things that make our partner, our wife, happy. Because we love unconditionally. We don't need a formula. Unconditional love is a state of being. It is in itself love. If my wife decides to cook me a dinner, I appreciate that dinner. And I love her. Whether she cooks that dinner and the dinner came out delicious or the dinner was burned, I still love her, regardless of the dinner. If I cook dinner for my wife and the dinner it got burned or it's too salty, and she still loves me, she still appreciates the fact that I tried to cook dinner, and she loves me. She still says, this dinner was good, thank you. Next time, don't put so much salt in it. Or don't burn it. Now, is she being mean by saying that? No, we're just communicating. And, I know that I burned the food. Oops, sorry. Or, I put too much salt in it. Yeah, that's right. So unconditional love is really a reflection on ourselves. How can I be a better person? Not placing a condition of how that person should love me. You should love me by writing me love notes. If you don't write me love notes to me, then you don't love me. No, that's placing a condition. And that's the danger of this, the 5 love languages that I've seen people do. Oh, my love language is touch, and so you have to really hold my hand and put your hand on my shoulder and give me a massage so that I can see that you love me. And when that happens, let's say that if that happens, we're not at the state of unconditional love. We're on a conditioned love. You have to love me this way so that I can know that you love me. You have to spend quality time with me, otherwise you don't love me. You have to do acts of service. Go the extra mile. Go clean the house. Go clean the walls so that I can see that you love me. That is obviously wrong. We don't want to place any conditions on the love that we have. I love when you have unconditional love, it just flows naturally. It just comes out naturally. And that's where we want to be. When we want to be able to love people naturally, not being forced to love anyone, Not being forced to love someone in a particular way. It doesn't matter the love language. The love language doesn't matter. And when I look at Jesus, he didn't go around saying, well, what's your love language? He didn't do that. He just loved naturally. Naturally loved. He said, love one another. He said, love one another as I have loved you. And if we looked at how he loved us and how Jesus loved us, it's very deep, very spiritual. All the miracles he performed the miracles free. He didn't want anything in return, although he taught us how to be grateful for the things that we received. 10 people were healed and only one came back to say thank you. Teaching us how to be human, how to be grateful for the things that we get, that we have. And that's being human, and that's being loving, because we want to love God back. We want to be the reflection of God's love. And if we are the reflection of God's love to each other, then it becomes unconditional. We listen to each other. We can listen to each other and appreciate each other's being, each other's creation. God created us unique, and we're all unique. Everybody is unique. There's not two people alike. And so just being appreciative of the fact that you exist, and that you're sitting here, and that you're listening to this video cast, I appreciate that, because I want that love to be extended. And so just being who you are in itself should be enough to be loved. To understand, just you for who you are is enough to be loved by God. That's it. It's you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to write anything. It's just you being you, who you are, and that's who God loves. And so, for all of us to have that unconditional love, we should just accept each other for who we are, and not try to come up with some formula to think that that's the way we should love. Some people thrive on that, and that's good, fine. But unconditional love is deeper than simply a formula. Unconditional love comes from deep down inside our heart, from deep down inside our soul, because we really want to love like God loves. And so that requires soul searching. That requires to do a self-reflection of where you're at. Where am I in this process? Where am I in this journey of love? Where am I in this journey of love to love and to continue to love? And so, not to criticize the 5 love languages. Of course, they're written down, and that's fine and that's good. But there's more than just 5 love languages. There's more than that. And we're all human, and we're all made up differently. Sometimes a person needs to be hugged. Sometimes a person needs to be told, I love you. You're valuable. You're a valuable person. Sometimes a person needs someone to spend quality time with them, and so they can talk about whatever. That's quality time. And you don't need a degree for any of that. That's what drives me crazy. Why do we need a degree to talk about love? Or why do you need a degree to communicate? We've in our society, especially in our Western society, we need to have a document. This document says that you know how to communicate, when it's naturally human to communicate. How we communicate, we can learn. Love is natural too. Love is natural. Maybe um, being more sensitive to love will make us a more loving nation, because as it is right now, as things are, people hate each other. People can get upset at someone else for any particular reason. We think that we're right, I'm right, you're wrong, and it's my property, not your property, and I belong here, not you, and go back home to where you came from, and all of these things that come out that are not loving at all, not loving one bit at all, because we're criticizing the individual. We say, oh, we need to follow the law. Oh, okay, what law? Why not follow the law of love? That's the highest love. That's the highest law. It's love. Loving our neighbor is the highest form of love. You know, of course, the higher one is loving God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your mind, all of your strength. And then love your neighbor as you love yourself. So how do you love yourself? Being reflective. Not being angry. Not being angry at the world, but being loving. Having that unconditional love for everybody. If we have unconditional love for everyone, imagine that just for tomorrow, everybody woke up from their bed and they gave unconditional love to everybody. Think about that. We wake up tomorrow and we give unconditional love to everybody. It would change the world. It would change the world. We would have peace, not war. Thank you for listening. Peace and love to everyone.